Hey, so I have a question for you. Have you ever found yourself wondering, how do bloggers and influencers and creators determine the rates that they charge brands? If so, you're not alone. In fact, it's one of the most common questions I get from influencers in the community. And they also ask questions like, how do I price my rates? Brand X is asking what I charge for an Instagram post. What should I charge them? A brand wants to partner on a sponsored blog post and an Instagram story. What is the going rate for a blog post and Instagram story? And more recently, what should I charge for a TikTok video? And what's the going Instagram rate per post? And can you tell me how much to charge for one blog post? Can you relate to any of these questions? If so, I get it. I've been there myself, and pricing sponsored blog posts and determining an Instagram rate per post or what to charge for a TikTok video isn't really common knowledge if you're an emerging blogger or influencer. And to be fair, determining how much to charge per blog post or per Instagram post is 100% unique to you and the campaign in question. So while I can't provide anyone with a specific price, I can offer you guidance in determining your rates. Also, if you're curious what the going rate for a blog post or an Instagram post or a TikTok video is, the truth is it really varies with so many factors involved and creative ways to collaborate on sponsored posts. There really is no going rate. So while I know this doesn't make your life any easier, I can promise you that pricing your rates for sponsored content going forward does get easier with time and practice. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Jay and I am the creator of 11th Street Studio. If you'd like to learn more about how you can join our community or access all of our e-courses, check out the links below this video. So first and foremost, given that influencer marketing is still a new territory for many people, influencers and brands alike, it's normal to wonder how much to charge for content, okay? So in most scenarios, brands will want to discuss your rates soon after introductions are made and always before going forward with a campaign. So keep in mind, however, that if a brand really wants to work with you, they'll be 100% willing to pay you whatever it is that you charge. So please don't undervalue yourself and what you can offer brands. On a rare occasion, you may come across a brand that simply doesn't have the budget to pay you your unique rate for sponsored content. And if so, don't stress. If they can't afford your rates, that doesn't mean all bets are off, not a chance. You can always negotiate with the brand if you are just dying to work with them. Perhaps they can't afford your rate for a sponsored blog post, for example, but they might be able to swing a sponsored Instagram story. So just remember, everything is negotiable, and get creative and just negotiate various factors like the campaign deliverables to make sure that everyone benefits from a potential partnership. Now, with so many factors involved in brand campaigns, it's extremely important that you're very clear on what the brand's expectations are before signing any contracts. Since there are so many things to consider, you want to be sure that you're pricing your rates fairly and are also being compensated fairly too. And many influencers and bloggers and creators will agree that a handful of products in exchange for posts isn't fair compensation. So please, by all means, politely tell the brand no thanks if you find yourself in this scenario. Best case scenario, they'll find room in their marketing budget to pay you. Or if they truly can't afford your rate, perhaps they can offer you, say, a year's worth of products, assuming that you really, really love their products and would 100% use them. So get creative in negotiations if and only if it's a brand that you would love to partner with. Okay, so now let's cover the most important things that you need to consider before pricing your rates. From production costs to time of year to time constraints, blogger and influencer rates for sponsored content varies greatly, which is why I always recommend against setting your rates in stone. Given that each and every marketing campaign is unique to the brand and what they're hoping to achieve, your rates are likely to never be the same. In fact, when I surveyed influencers in the community, I discovered that many of them increase their rates with each campaign until they reach a rate that they're comfortable with, and at which point they then increase it every quarter thereafter. So that's something you might want to consider doing as well. Okay, so let's dive into the 10 most important things that you want to ask yourself before sending over any rates to brands. Number one being production costs. What are the upfront costs to you, the creator, in creating the post? Will you be traveling for the shoot or hiring a professional photographer? Who will be editing the final images, and how much will that cost you? Will you need to shop for clothes, hire a stylist, get a blowout, or bring on a makeup artist? These are all things that you want to think about when brainstorming your production costs. And the second thing you want to think about is time constraints. What does your editorial calendar currently look like? Do you truly have time for this campaign, or do you already have multiple collaborations scheduled? And the next thing you want to consider is brand deadlines. When does the brand want the campaign to go live? Ideally, a brand will provide you with plenty of time to prepare the campaign for publication. However, there are exceptions to every rule. Do they need the deliverables next month, 2 months from now, or in 3 weeks? As you can imagine, short deadlines will raise collaboration prices. And the next thing you want to consider is time of year. So ask yourself, what season is it? If a brand is interested in partnering with you during the holidays, please be aware that they fully expect to pay influencers much higher rates for holiday campaigns. So you should consider increasing your rates accordingly. In fact, many brands double or triple their budgets for the holidays, since this is the time of year that they profit the most. Meaning they're often willing to maximize their spend on influencers in order to maximize their ROI, or return on investment. And the next thing you should consider is extra requests. So does the brand want just you in the final image or video? Or do they want you and your partner, or you with your child? For example, it's common for an influencer to charge extra if a brand asks to feature her and her toddler for a Mother's Day campaign, or her and her fiance for a Valentine's Day campaign. In which case, she can stash away the extra income in a savings account for her child, or split the payment with her significant other. And the next thing you want to consider is agent fees. Are you currently represented by an agent or a manager? If so, and they're booking campaigns for you, brands expect to pay more for the creator and any other services the agency offers them, such as campaign tracking. So if you're paying an agent a percentage of your bookings, or if you're paying a manager a percentage of your yearly income as an influencer, then you can certainly charge higher rates. And the next thing you want to consider is usage rights. Due to legal complexities, I break down usage rights in another video, which I'll link to at the end of this video. And I suggest that you always run any questions regarding your rights to content by a lawyer before signing any contracts. In short, influencers and creators may charge significantly more if they sign contracts allowing the brand to reuse their content. Now, on a side note, occasionally influencers sign contracts without reviewing them first and then lose their usage rights to brands. Again, if this term comes up in negotiations, I highly suggest you run it by a lawyer prior to signing away your rights. And the next thing you want to consider is exclusivity. Is the brand requesting exclusivity? If so, you may want to charge them 3 to 4 times your regular rate. As with usage rights, I recommend you run this by a lawyer before signing any contracts, since doing so will legally prevent you from partnering with the brand's competitors for a period of time. And as you can imagine, that could cause you to potentially lose out on future campaigns with other brands and income. So it's something you want to take very seriously. And the next thing you want to consider is campaign complexity. How complex is the project? Will you need to go to the store to pick up the products from the brand, or will they be sending them to you free of charge? And what exactly does the brand expect of you leading up to the publication date, as well as following the publication date? Brands understandably expect to pay influencers additional compensation if there are extra logistical matters involved in creating the campaign. And the next thing you want to consider is compensation. Will the brand be paying you prior to the publication date, or are they insisting on paying you net 30 or 60 or 90 days after the campaign goes live? Many influencers add on additional fees if the brand fails to pay them prior to the publication date, or worse, makes late payments. So make sure that everyone is clear about how you'll be compensated and that the details are included in the contract so that you have a legal leg to stand on should the brand fail to follow through on payment. And the next thing you want to consider is your influence. There is a reason why some celebrities and athletes and models and actors retain more for brand campaigns than others. And that same wisdom applies to influencers. So if you believe and can prove that you are more influential in your niche than other influencers, it may be in your interest to charge higher rates. And the next thing you want to consider is brand demands. Like influencers, brands also have a reputation in this industry. So ask around. Is the brand known to be difficult to work with? What's their reputation? If they're known to be demanding or unreasonable, not many influencers will want to collaborate with them, meaning those who are willing to do so often charge them higher rates to accommodate the additional work and stress involved in meeting their unique needs and expectations. So as you can see, I can't possibly offer anyone specific advice as to how much to charge for sponsored content, since each influencer and brand partnership is significantly different. However, if you can determine a base rate that you'd like to meet for each partnership and then factor in all of the variables I just mentioned, you'll probably find pricing your rates going forward to be much easier. Not to mention, if a brand for any reason questions the rate that you finally propose, you can now easily communicate all that is really involved in your pricing, making negotiations considerably easier. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Also, feel free to check out the links below this video to our main website where you can join our influencer community, as well as to our member website where you can gain unlimited access to all of our e-courses and webinars if you join as a member. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.